Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey guys, before we get started today, I want to talk to you about something that I've implemented into my auto detailing business personally that has seriously taken it to the next level. And that's B Pro by the Better Software Company. B Pro is the #1 all-inclusive small business management solution that was designed specifically for detailers. You see, customer revenue is the lifeblood of any small business. And we've talked about this right on the show. And that's why I chose B Pro in my personal business, and that's why B Pro comes with a variety of features that are completely customizable to help boost your business. Here are some of the things that it includes. Email marketing. Have you been wanting to do that? Have you been wanting to step up your lead generation? How about your opportunity management? What is opportunity management? You know all those quotes that you throw out that you never hear back from those people? What if you actually started following up on the quotes that you gave? That would be huge. B Pro will even remind you when a customer's likely ready to buy from you again. So not only are you following up on the leads or on the quotes that you're giving out, but you're also following up on the customers that have already bought from you. That is huge. We're leaving a ton of money on the table by not following up with our previous clients. B Pro has everything you need to run your auto detailing business in one easy to use solution. Customer management, invoicing, inventory, orders, scheduling, timesheets. B Pro has you covered whether you run a single man mobile detailing business or a multi-location, multi-employee fixed location, or even fixed and mobile locations. B Pro can support you too. Only B Pro offers the same functionality on your smartphone as on your laptop, and they even have where your employees can log in and have their own interface too. So if you have multiple employees, you want tracking on your employees to be able to tell what time they got to a location, what time they left the location. You want customers to sign when the service is done. You want vehicle checklist. All these things are customizable within the B Pro software. So get started today at thebettersoftwarecompany.com. That's thebettersoftwarecompany.com. And tell them you heard about them from Jimbo on the Auto Detailing Podcast for some special love. Hey guys, this week's episode, I just want to jump in a little bit before I play the episode for you, and I guess this is becoming a reoccurring theme with me jumping in before the episode starts. But the reason why I wanted to do it this time or today is because honestly the audio quality kind of sucks in this episode. I'm not sure what happened with the settings on my recording, but I was in the car. Well, I know what happened. I was in the car, and instead of recording straight to my phone, it picked up on Bluetooth. And so I was recording over Bluetooth. Did I say my car? I wasn't in my car. I was in my mobile recording studio, which is, yes, for you that are new to the show, is my car. Anyway, it picked up on the Bluetooth and not directly to my recorder. So for that reason, it may be a little hard to hear me. I'm currently trying to clean up the audio to make it more easy. Wow, how's that? More easy? So it's easier to hear me, but just a fair warning, and I ask for your forgiveness, because the audio quality is admittedly pretty bad. But the information, the content is actually pretty dang good. And I know I've been pumping out a lot on coatings lately, but if you're installing coatings, or frankly, I've just been getting a ton of questions on coatings, and it's easier to point people to a resource like a video or a podcast episode, because I can explain a lot more via audio than I can through like an email or even a Facebook message. So it's easier to create a podcast episode and reference people over to that. This week we've seen a ton of new listeners also, so if you've been with me for a long time, thank you, and let's welcome all the new guys. If you're new and just picking up the Auto Detailing Podcast for the first couple times, well, you got some homework, right? We're coming up on 250 episodes, guys. This is insane. August will be, or actually the end of this month, beginning of August, will be our 2-year anniversary together, so that's exciting. and we're seeing some pretty massive growth right now. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Again, I apologize for the audio quality being kind of bad, but the content's still good, which is what my main focus is for you guys. So, I think that's it. If you're new to the show, or if you've been listening for a long time, I appreciate your Facebook messages and emails letting me know what your story is and how long you've been listening. Had a listener the other day, guys, check this out, was driving to Las Vegas, listened to me for 5 straight hours. Now, I would get tired of myself after 5 hours, but stories like that I love hearing. Another listener from Ireland, which is cool. Just all over the place, guys, so I appreciate you. Hope you still enjoy this episode, even though the audio is kind of crappy. But bear with me. Back next week with even more. See you guys then. Here we go.
What's going on, guys? This is Jimbo with the Auto Detailing Podcast, coming back for another episode. Going to try and get through this one. I'm dealing with some sort of a cold, flu, virus, but I just keep telling myself, I'm not getting sick, and trying to power through it. So my voice sounds a little different, or if I have some coughs or anything of that in the middle, that's why. Anyway, today I want to talk about applying coatings and how to make this application of coatings more smooth and more efficient and effective and easier on your brain. Now, the process of applying a coating can honestly be kind of tedious, but at the same time as that is tedious, it's also, you have to be very concentrated. So it's tedious, but you have to be concentrated, so your brain's working the whole time. But again, you're just wiping something on a car, essentially. So it's kind of got this weird balance, unlike a lot of other things in detailing, where you have to be hyper-focused on something that's hyper-tedious. So in order to make your job easier, and again, the end goal when dealing with a coating is to not get any high spots, because high spots are the devil, right? High spots mean that you have to go back after and fix your mistake, or high spots mean that you didn't do something properly, and you could jeopardize the outcome of the car by having too many high spots, and not taking the time while you're applying the coating, or not being hyper focused during the application of the coating. That could really screw things up later, and really have you spending more time after you've actually installed the coating. That can just be really frustrating. Honestly, if you spend a few hours just applying the coating, and then you pull it out for a full sun shot and you got a bunch of high spots, that could be very annoying. Anyway, so one thing I like to do, and this will be different depending on the coating that you're using, so it really depends on how installer friendly your coating is that you're working with, because some coatings you can get away with using one towel after you apply the coating to wipe off the residue. Some coatings you need 3, 4, 5, 6 towels. It's all different depending on the coating, but this tip doesn't really matter how many towels you have. It just matters that you kind of follow this to really keep it easy. And that is to have color-coordinated towels. So, for example, the coating that I'm currently installing, I only need 2 towels. I probably use 4 towels in total for the whole car, but 2 towels at a time. So, and I have them color coordinated. Usually a red towel is always included, because I associate red with fire, danger, and that'll usually be my first towel. And then the second towel doesn't really matter, the color. It's just that red towel, and that's purely just, I don't know, because I like red. But you could have any color towel. The point is to have 2 separately colored towels during your application process. And so what I do is I have my towels folded all up, whatever that's 8 sides or whatever, apply the coating. Now, again, another tip with the coating, I despise those stupid suede things with that block. I think it's it just sucks. I can't get it right in my hand. It's always coming off that stupid block. It's just so awkward and annoying that I use a microfiber applicator. So that's another little, that one's free right there, to use a microfiber applicator instead of that suede thing. I feel like the product spreads better, easier, more efficient. Again, kind of the recurring theme here. Anyway, so you apply the coating on, and then you take this is why I like red, you take your first towel that you have hopefully sitting right by you, or in your detailer's helper belt. That one's free too, Kevin. You're welcome. And then you wipe it. This is why I like red, because red, I always know that that's going to be my first wipe. So I wipe the panel down with that first dedicated red towel in one side of it. And then, so that'll get the majority of the residue off. And then I have a separate towel. We'll call it a yellow towel. The yellow towel here's another term I hate, buff the panel. But instead of saying buff the panel, it's the final wipe to ensure that there's no high spots. So again, the red towel, the first towel is going to be getting the majority of the residue after I apply the coating. So whatever after it's flashing and you're getting the bulk of the coating that hasn't automatically started to bond to the paint is going to be with that red initial towel. Again, it does not have to be red, but whatever color you choose, I just recommend having a separate color from your second towel that you're going to need to finish the panel off or buff the panel off, as would be commonly said. So some coatings you'll have to have a third towel, which is kind of annoying for me because then it just gets into having too many towels. If you're dealing with the coating flashing really quickly or starting to harden really quickly because you're in a place with high humidity or the coating's kind of not as installer friendly, you may need to have a damp towel as your first or second dedicated towel. Again, that will be something that you need to decide, but I've seen some people talking about, the coating flashing too quickly and hardening up and getting kind of tacky and gooey too quickly. Try the damp towel. That may be a separate color towel. So depending on how many towels you need to have to wipe off each panel, I would make sure that you have separate colors for each of those. And maybe if I remember, I will have some towels linked up in the show notes, so look out for that. But again, if you're using something like the Costco towels or the Sam's Club towels or towels that are all one color, what I found for me is that it starts to get confusing as you work your way through the car. Because again, you're focusing on, okay, what side of the applicator have I used? And again, you're hyper focused on making sure you're getting complete coverage of the panel or of the wheel or whatever. You're using enough product. You're hyper focused on installing the coating, and then you have to transition over to being hyper focused on what towel was the first towel you wiped with, what towel was the second towel you wiped with, what side of that towel you used on the previous panel. So you have like all these, it seems kind of silly because it's so tedious in the fact that at the end of the day you're just wiping something on the paint and then wiping it off. But to save yourself a lot of hassle later, you kind of want to be very diligent in the process of how you are wiping the panel clean and all that stuff. So I would really suggest that you get separate color towels and have them dedicated, and maybe just like I do, have that a red towel is always the first wipe, and then whatever the color of your next towel is always the second wipe. But that's what I would suggest. And there's plenty of places on Amazon or whatever to get cheapy throw-out towels, because chances are is that you're throwing the towels out after you install the coating anyway. But I would highly suggest doing that as kind of a little hack to make your life a little bit easier to, again, limit the amount of bandwidth that you actually have to be thinking. And I only use one side of the towel per panel. So, and I will always have as I set my towel down, because I usually use like my little 3-step ladder next to me, or another rolling cart, or something that's going to be easy for me to have the towels with me. The side of the towel that I'm going to wipe the panel with is always going to be face up. So I apply the coating, let it flash for the 20 or 30 seconds, then I pick up the towel. Again, the side of the towel that I'm going to wipe with the panel is going to be face up, so I'm ensuring that I'm never reusing that side of the towel. Maybe it'll be my first wipe towel, my red towel, wipe down the panel, flip the towel to a fresh side, lay it face up again, so it's ready for the next panel, and move on. So hopefully that's a nice little hack to help you guys install coatings. Ooh, that was almost a New York accent coming out. More efficiently, more effectively, without getting high spots on the cars, thus saving you a ton of time and a ton of hassle.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Head on over to autodetailingpodcast.com for full show notes and links of everything that we've talked about today. And don't forget to check out our resources page for a direct link to all the products talked about not only on today's episode, but that I use in my day-to-day detail business. They have direct links so you can purchase and get free shipping right from that page. That's autodetailingpodcast.com. We'll see you on the next episode.